Hey, it's me, Jeremy John with Kokanee Kid Fishing, where tackle and information come together to get you guys in the game. Hey, I'm here just to talk about what's been going on our local lakes and about the crappy weather we're still having. So, weather this weekend does not look very good. Friday, Saturday, Sunday look like they're going to be windy, not only in Lapine, but up towards Odell and over at Detroit, Green Peter. So the best day looks like tomorrow and Thursday. So again, calling sick, go fish Wednesday, Thursday. Those look like your best weather days for a while. So I don't know what's going on with weather. It's horrible. So let's talk about Detroit. So Detroit fishing has been kind of sketchy, but I think people aren't fishing the lake right. So I got a screenshot from my buddy Bernie. I'm going to show you guys a screenshot, and I want you guys to notice all the fish super high in the water column. So with that transducer going down, it's a very small area, so you're just going to get little itty bitty tiny marks. They're not going to be the normal marks that you get once you get down below about 35-40 feet. And the amount of fish that are up on the surface that he's marking means the majority of the fish are up on the surface. So if it was me and I was fishing Detroit, I would still fish high in the water column. Water temp's been about 59 to 60. We got a couple hot days coming up, but as soon as that temperature gets up to 64, 65, those fish should start moving down in the water column and concentrating a little bit more. You can see by the screenshot, the fish are all throughout the water column, so they really haven't gotten into that grouping or that thermocline. But as soon as that happens, I would suspect that the fishing is going to pick up at Detroit. Still tons of rainbows to be had, and those fish should start moving out of the island area and moving down towards Blowout. So that Blowout area should be getting pretty good. I'm guessing within a week or two. Still tons of fish at Green Peter. That's just a gimme. So I wouldn't even worry about where you'd go. If it was me, I'd probably go fish down by the island still. But those fish, I mean, I'm pretty much, you probably could go anywhere you want. Maybe just go out of Thistle and take a right and fish out in there. So there's just a ton of fish to be had at Green Peter. The one lake I want to talk about is Odell. So Odell has been really weird this year. Scott Walters absolutely hammered him on the opener for the jigging, and then it just kind of went downhill. I believe the Mackinac are probably not feeding on them as heavy. They did do a Mackinac Derby this weekend, so I know a lot of people have been targeting those Mackinac, maybe relaxing those schools, because I have seen some people picking up some pretty good numbers up at Odell, and they look a lot bigger this year than what I've seen in the past. Still June. Normally those fish don't get full size till the end of August, so they've got a lot of time to grow, and I would expect that fishing to be pretty good. Now, I will say the people that I've been getting pictures from know what they're doing. You just got to get out there and work your gear. I think they're still fishing over by Princess Creek area, but those fish look like, from what the reports I'm getting, is they are starting to move to the West Bay, which can be pretty crowded. You got to watch what you're doing when you're fishing in there, especially if you get some people that are long lining. Just be safe, because that can be a zoo. But the fishing is picking up at Odell. Let's talk about Wallowa Lake. Still seeing tons of fish being caught at Wallowa, and a few big ones. Boy, I've been seeing some nice sized kokanee, just not a lot of them. But you always have that opportunity when you're up there fishing. I mean, the worst day of fishing is better than the best day at work. So, and then when you have an opportunity to catch an absolute slab, that makes that lake a pretty good bet. So the one thing I will say is, when you're fishing that lake, you really want to watch your terminal tackle. Make sure your lines have no nicks in them. Make sure the lures don't have any nicks in them, because you're going to be catching a lot of little fish, but that one big one that hits is the one opportunity you don't want to lose, a fish of a lifetime. So just make sure your drags are set loose. You can always tighten them if you get a smaller one and you want to crank them in, but make sure that if you hook a big one, you'll know it, because they're just going to rip line like crazy, and you're going to have to hold on to your dear life. You're going to probably want to slow your boat down. You're going to want to turn into them a little bit. So like if you catch the fish on the right side, take your boat and turn it to the right. That's going to completely slow down that whole side. And you're probably going to want to reel your other rods in, because you got all day to reel them in. They're in a lake. Just make sure that you don't hook a big one and you lose them. I will tell you from experience, it's sickening. So I'll tell you about it here in just a little bit. So just, if you go to Wallowa, just expect that, one of those fish, and I've caught some fish up there that were big that didn't hit like a big fish. A lot of times you'll catch a lot of small rainbows that'll just kind of hit the rod just lightly, and you'll just go and yank it and reel up. But as soon as you reel up and feel that fish, get ready, because they're just going to rip. So I've hooked a pretty big one before where I reeled up and I knew it was a big fish. And then I had to hand the rod to Deb. I was in a really bad area, slow the boat down, get everything set up, and then that fish just went ballistic. Didn't even know he was hooked at the time. So just take it easy if you're up there. Plano Lake, still fishing good. I've still been hearing 40 feet down, south side. I do believe that the campground boat launches are open, thank God, because the resort there was getting pretty crowded for boats and trailers. And then also, I have not heard of any reports from East Lake. I do believe that the lake is a little bit on the low side. I did see some smaller boats fishing it, but I have not heard any reports from East Lake. So if you hear anything about East Lake, or if you're taking your boat up there, get a hold of me and let me know what's going on so I can share it out to everybody. So the lake I want to talk about, if you don't know, me and the wife, we went to Crane Prairie, and I've never fished it before. First off, I just want to give a thank you to Dale Hayden. Boy, did he help me out, because I didn't even know where to launch my boat. I didn't know where the boat launch was at. Wasn't sure where the fish were going to be. And it sure was great having a buddy that you could just call and he'd be like, oh yeah, just go down the road and stuff. So we did launch at Rock Creek. The main reason is I got 3 dogs and my wife, and I wanted to have a dock to be able to walk out of. So we camped at Twin Lakes, the RV camp. That was really, really nice. I will say that Wiki Up is super low, and I didn't see anybody fishing it. I wonder why. So, but boy, they drained. It's really low already. So, but it's on the Deschutes Arm. I guess if it's full pool, you can kind of see the lake. I couldn't see it from my campground, and I had a lake campground, so I kind of had to look down, checking out. But the campground was really nice. Pretty short drive up to Rock Creek. And it is a little bit of a tight launch. I didn't have any issues. I've got basically a 20-foot aluminum boat, and then I left my extender on for my camper. I've got about a 3.5-foot extender that goes underneath my camper, so I left that on. So my trailer was pretty big, but it's pretty tight. And so I'm just giving you a heads up. So if you launch at Rock Creek, basically you head out towards Quinn, which is straight out and to the left, and that's where I found most of the kokanee that we did hook. Again, the kokanee you're going to catch there are going to be big. Make sure that your drag is set loose. Make sure you don't have any issues with your terminal tackle. Check your lines. I checked them every time I caught a fish. Check your tackle. The issue I hooked a really, really big one, and it's pretty easy to see that you got a kokanee, because they're just going to jump out of the water like 2 to 3 feet and just go crazy and rip. Well, he ripped towards my boat super fast, and I wasn't fast enough on the reel to keep the tension as tight as I wanted, and he got off. So that was one that I wish I could have back. The second kokanee we hit, we didn't have on very long. I just don't think the hookup was very good. And the one that Debbie got, boy, she played that thing perfect. Again, jumped crazy out of the water, shot towards the boat again. She kept up with it, and then he ripped line back out towards the main lake, in between my downrigger cable and heading towards the trolling motor. So she had to do a little maneuvering with the rod in between the boat and the cable, and then she kept them out of the motor. I turned a little bit, but boy, man, what a fighter. Fantastic. Cut awesome. Still tasted great. The one thing I will tell you is there is a lot of debris going on in Crane Prairie right now. So make sure you're checking your tackle often. There's a little bit of salad in the ground. So you'd reel up a lure presentation thinking you were going to switch it out, and you just have a bunch of green mess on it. So and sometimes it's a little difficult getting that off, but make sure you get it all off. I'd rebait the corn, go back out. I did notice there are quite a few fish over in that Quinn area where it reaches the drop off, and the fish we caught was right next to a boat anchored to a log. There's kind of a log force that comes out, and I was kind of surprised with my forward scan how close I could suck in to that tree forest. But there are some areas that have some stumps that come up pretty high, so you really got to watch yourself. If you stay in the channel line, if you're using a Navionics map system, it's not too bad. There are some stumps up on the upper end of Quinn out that stick out pretty bad, and then also on the other end. But the forward scan, I could see them ahead of time. If I couldn't turn out of them, I'd just bring my stuff up to the surface, go over the top of them, and then just drop it back down. But I was fishing 5 to 7 feet down in 13 to 16 feet of water. We did catch a nice rainbow, and again, we lost a couple really nice kokanee, but it was a fun trip. We got there late. I only got to fish a couple hours the first day because of the lightning storm, and then we fished probably about 5 hours on Saturday, and then broke up camp. And actually, it was Friday. Friday's when we broke up camp. I was supposed to stay Saturday, but the weather looked like it was going to be crap. Imagine that. And then we headed up to Odell Sportsman Center, dropped off some tackle, and then I dropped some tackle off at Odell Lake Resort. So they are fully stocked just in case you're up there and you want to get some good gear. So hopefully this report helps. Make sure that you guys are following me on Facebook. Make sure you like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It does help out quite a bit. I'm trying to give out the best information possible. If you want to hear about a certain lake or want to know what's going on, you can leave some comments, and maybe I can check it out and let you know what's going on at the lake that you want to hear about. So take care. Again, this weekend, weather not so good. I can call in sick, go fishing tomorrow if it was me. All right, we'll see you guys. Bye.